Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mediak podcast. This week, it is a beyond special week. This is the first time that you will be able to see both me and Jack, and even more importantly, we have a special guest star, Steve McKinley Henderson. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit for anyone who doesn't know anything about you?
I've been an actor and a professor of theater for some years. I retired from the University of Buffalo, where I taught acting for 30 years, and I've been working on stage primarily, and then now recently in the last 10, 15 years in film. And I've done Broadway and off Broadway and film and television, and I still teach from time to time workshops and master classes in acting. And I don't know what else I went to school everywhere. Everywhere I went to school. But I was in Group One at the Juilliard School when they first started an acting track there in the
So, like the very
drama
first
division.
acting class?
The first drama division in 1968. They started an acting school at Juilliard, and I was in Group One. I was in the first group of that.
That is
And
honestly amazing. It's honestly quite an honor to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for that.
We're super excited.
I'm
First
glad to
interview
do
and
it. Well,
everything.
Zach, I'm here because your uncle.
Yes, that is exactly the reason. You should
Yeah,
have.
he was a student.
I can't. I honestly, he told me that he was going to have the opportunity to talk to you. I never thought in a million years that it would actually go through, and we'd even have you on the podcast. It is beyond an honor. Wednesday was when we found out that you were going to be on it, and we were actually recording our episode for the week, and the reaction I started screaming. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's a great episode. Right at the end,
Well,
we
I'm glad
started
to do
freaking
it. I'm
out.
glad to do it. Your uncle was great for him to get back in touch with me, and after a lot of years. I mean, it was a long time.
Yeah, that's what you said.
But it was just at the right time. I had just done because I've only done two commencement addresses in my life, and I don't think I'll do any more. I hope not, because it really did take a lot of my hair out and turn the rest gray. And you really want to make sure you're saying something that's meaningful and inspiring. And I did one at Juilliard and received an honorary doctorate there, and I just did one at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts in Winston-Salem and received an honorary doctorate. And it's at that time that your dad, your uncle reached out, was looking around trying to find out where how he could get in touch with me, and that's when he saw that commencement address, got in touch with my manager, and then that's it. That's how we
That's
connected.
amazing. It's so lucky that this happened to happen, and I could not be happier about it. And I'm I'm still surprised that you agreed to be on our not very popular podcast. I was not
Rinky
expecting
Dink,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things. First, it was Brian, your uncle, and then the other thing is, I heard you guys were in Pittsburgh.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, one of my favorite cities in all the world, because I worked with August Wilson for quite a few years, and I worked down there in Pittsburgh. I did at the Pittsburgh Public Theater, did a show with August down there, and we filmed the film Fences, Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, and we filmed it in Pittsburgh. And I come back and forth there from time to time to see friends and do things there with the newspaper guy. Chris Rawson is a critic and a writer there, and Mark Suther, who runs a thing called a Pittsburgh Playwrights Theater.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, this is a lot of synchronicity, man. I got to do this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't know until we were doing all the research that Fences was filmed in Pittsburgh. That blew my mind.
In the Hill District. Yeah, that was a joy, because I met August and worked down there with him. And so when Denzel tried to introduce some of the family to the cast, and he was introducing the cast to some of the family, and they all said, "Oh, you don't have to introduce us to Steve, man. We know him. Come on, you want to introduce us to this guy? He's been around and worked with August and that." So that was a really a moment of of just great joy, and to be a part of that film. It's a wonderful film, and he's a wonderful writer, and Denzel's a great guy. We had done the show on Broadway, and he and Viola both were honored for that production, and he could have done that play, just the movie. He could have done it with he and Viola. They could have cast the rest of, but he said he was going to direct it and he wanted to do it with the cast that he had done it with on Broadway, and he made sure that he did. So we were, it was an honor to be a part of it.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a preference for what you like to act in over theater or film or TV or any of that?
I like to have a job. That's what I like. So no, I don't really, now I guess because I'm, in my 70s now, doing theater is a real task, man. Doing Broadway or off Broadway or regional theater, 8-9 shows a week. It's a chore, but the play is often worth it. So the play makes me want to do it. And the last Broadway show I did was, I think it was 2017.
So kind of recent.
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
Yeah. And I was in a replacement cast of the Doll's House Part 2. And that was a joy to be a part of. Julie White was wonderful in it. And then I did a play in 2015 that won the Pulitzer Prize for the playwright, and I won an Olivier Award. A play called Between Riverside and Crazy.
And, I saw that when I was researching.
And that was the first lead role that I've done in New York in a play, and got an Obie for it, and it won a Pulitzer. So I felt that was pretty good. I thought that was probably going to be it. I said, okay, man, I'm going to go home now.
I'm turning it in. This is the peak.
I had a lead in a play. I won an Obie, and it got a Pulitzer Prize. I think I can get my rocking chair, my fishing pole, and it'll be all right. But then I did another one. So you just never know when you're finished.
Oh yeah, of course.
But to really answer the question, it is really the project. It's the piece of writing and the message. That's the thing that can make me get up and go. I always say, I've never been a racehorse, but I'm a firehouse horse. If there's a fire and the bell rings, and they hook up the wagon and we go. There used to be a time when that's how the fires got put out, because of horse and wagons with water, and so I kind of think that's what happens. I read something and the bell rings and I say, yep, time to go back, do another round.
Is that what happened with Dune? Because you're in that upcoming movie that's coming out.
Oh well, now yeah. Man, come on, to be a part of Dune. You talk about how you were when you heard on Wednesday I was coming on the show. That's what I was like, man. And I had a job. I was doing a great gig. I was in Manchester, England, doing this limited series called Devs.
Oh yeah, my uncle says the best things about that. He recommends it.
Oh yeah, it was great. I tell you, Steven Spielberg wrote, Alex Garland, who wrote that. He said, man, that was one of my favorite things to watch with the family during the COVID. So if Steven Spielberg has it as one of his,
oh my God, it's on the list. I gotta watch that next.
That was something he told the cast, the writer. He let us all know that Spielberg said that. So, but I was doing that gig in Manchester, and very happy to be doing it. And then I get this call. It says that Denis Villeneuve says he tried to get me for another movie, but I was busy. And my managers never even told me. I had my manager, my agent, they said, well, yeah, he tried to get you one time and you were doing something. I said, what are you talking about? No. And then so anyway, this one was the one,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So your manager told you about contacting my uncle, but didn't tell you about Dune.
Yeah.
Right. No. It wasn't about Doom. They didn't tell me about this previous thing
Oh,
that
okay.
Denis Villeneuve, the director, wanted me for. And now that they did tell me about Doom. Yeah, they called me in England and said, yeah, he wants to get through. He wants to talk to you. And so I got to talk to him on the phone about the project. And I had read the book, years and years before, and I saw the previous movie, but I mean, when I found out that they were putting together this international cast of incredible people, and I knew Timothy, Chalamet from Lady Bird, the movie Lady Bird that we did with. Lucas Hedges and Timothy and Saoirse Ronan, and I mean that was a great cast too. But I knew that if I could get to be a part of this, and I thought I was going to have to audition and jump through hoops and beg but no, he said. No, I tried to get you for another film. He said, I love your work. I saw you in this, and I saw you in that. And I think you'd be good to play through theater Hawat. And I said, oh my goodness, man. And Denis, he's a French Canadian. So he speaks, he has his English. And it was just great for him to ask me. And then we got to do it and filmed it in Budapest, in Hungary, and they filmed in Jordan too. Some of the sand stuff in Jordan, and then in a studio and a sound stage in Budapest. And my goodness, man, the set. I was sitting there one day on this set, and I looked around and I said, it's like being in the 10 Commandments or Ben-Hur or something like that. When I was a kid, those are the big movies I saw, and the big spectacle stuff. It was something. And I can't really talk a lot about it because, we want you to go see it. Yeah. But it's going to be a big IMAX preview coming up this week, a new trailer and an IMAX event across the world. 40 cities. I don't know. I'm in Buffalo and you're in Pittsburgh, so I don't know if it's in one of our cities.
We can hope.
Yeah. But I'm sure eventually the trailer, this new trailer, will reach everyone. But it's the idea of seeing it in IMAX is gonna be. I mean, get ready, man.
I'm excited. I'm beyond excited.
The book is so monumental that Denis is doing it in 2 films. So we just did the first half of the book. And but I bet you there's no one, whether they've ever read the book or not, you're not going to be able to see the first part and not be waiting for the second part.
Oh, we love to see that. I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's quite something. And as I say, the cast, forget about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's
so amazing.
Little that outdoes that cast. There's just everybody.
Yeah. Jason and Jason Momoa, the Aquaman guy. Yeah, he's a wonderful actor and a wonderful person too. And he and Josh Brolin, they're crazy together. And,
I can believe that.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac's a great actor, and the women are stunning. I mean, it's quite something. It's quite something. Yeah. Rebecca and Sharon. Oh my goodness. Listen, you're gonna see. You got something to see.
Yeah, I'm beyond excited. I actually have never seen the original Dune movie, and I've never read the books. But Jack is always in my ear, always talking about it constantly. He loves the original movie. He loves the books, and wasn't there like a failed project of a movie that happened?
Yeah,
there was.
Well, but it's hard to call it failed because it's such a cult thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
it's really quite something. and then there was a British miniseries, I think, but the movie with McLaughlin, who did the first movie, is a famous film director. He's a great film director.
Oh yeah.
Jack.
I
was asking Jack. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's ridiculous that I can't say who that filmmaker is. I'm ashamed. I should be. But
no, it's fine. Things leave our brains all the time.
Things that he's done, and the TV series he had that was really stunning. But yeah, you guys should have done your research. You shouldn't have me on the spotlight.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
You were supposed to know, Jack.
We're the host. This is all.
Well, okay, David Lynch is the director.
David Lynch, that
yes.
was. There you go. All right, okay. You're right. But my fault to not come up with it. But
no, it's
I knew you'd get it. I knew you'd get it. I knew you.
Yeah, I'm such I'm such a big Dune nerd, and Zach was like, yeah, I think we're gonna try and get this, I'm talking to this guy Stephen Henderson, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh okay, what are some of the things he's gonna be in? He's like, he told me Fences and all this other things, and I was like, oh okay, I'm like, this is like really cool. And then he was like, oh, and he's gonna be some guy in Dune. I'm
okay,
not sure.
I didn't say it like that. I didn't say it like that. It was like, similar to, because I don't know Dune.
Yeah,
so
he wouldn't know.
The names aren't like in one ear out the other.
I understand. I quite understand.
Right. And so I was like, let me look into it. And I was like, Thufir, oh my gosh. I was like, this is such a big whatever. And so that's when I was like it really set in for me. I was like, this is huge. I'm so excited. And so it's like, oh my gosh. And in the email we got from Zach's uncle, he was like giving us some questions, that we could ask, or some ideas, and he was like, he gave a bunch of ideas, and then at the end he said, insert 20 Dune questions from Jack, because I'm just fanboying this whole time. But this is
But I tell you, really, to be on the set with it for that, and Rebecca Ferguson and Sharon Duncan Brewster and Charlotte Rampling and Javier. I just got to meet Javier briefly. He was leaving the set when I was coming to set, but just to see all these actors and Stellan Skarsgård, I mean, it's really quite something, man. And as I say, a new trailer is coming out next week, so make sure you catch that.
I will 100% watch that.
Marked on my calendar. Consider it.
I am beyond excited for that.
Yeah.
This is a rather large movie, and I'm going to assume, I'm going to assume there's a lot of CG elements in it. Was it hard to to act against nothing, if you were ever in a scene like that?
No, because it wasn't difficult, because you're surrounded by these other people who are in that reality, and they were wonderful actors who were, and there was so much that was actually built, so much set that was actually built. And the flying machines, to really get inside them and have some switches and operation, equipment, and have it lift, so that was really great, because you didn't have to just be inside some tube and pretend like you were flying. It literally, we had some machines that had some lift.
That's amazing.
They didn't go up in the air and fly around, but I mean, they did give you that sensation of takeoff and landing, and then the things that you would look out and see, that although you didn't see them actually at that moment, you did get to see what you were seeing, but primarily because Denis created such a magical environment, and the designers, such an incredible amount was actually there. And I tell you one thing, boy, you talk about some sand blowing there, sand machine. You didn't have to imagine that. Yeah, they had some machines that were rocking, man. I'm telling you. It wasn't, and with devs as well. The thing that I just come from, there was so much that's present. So the the CG stuff, um, you really got a sense of it even at that time. Now I did a film called Tower Heist
Hmm.
back in the day, and let's say back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, but it's a perennial movie that comes out around holiday time, and that was where I'm driving through the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and with a truck, and I'm driving through, and the people got to get out of the way, and all this other stuff, and that was fun. But so I knew what it was when you really are in just in a shell and nothing's around you. And I was never in that kind of feeling with Doom because it was always something tangible and visual for you to work off of, albeit not exactly what you'll see in the film.
Yeah.
There was something to play off of. And then when there was nothing else, there were these incredible actors who, you look at them and they're seeing something, so you got to see the same thing, you know what I mean? Because they
Right.
were definitely seeing it, yeah.
You say
Yeah.
incredible actor as if you yourself are not an incredible actor. When me and Jack were going through all of the clips that you have, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It is incredible that we were even able to get you on the cast to talk to. Like I looked at him. What clip were we watching, Jack? Whenever I just turned to you and was like, I'm gonna be talking to this guy.
Yeah,
This
right.
guy's
It was
amazing.
probably Fences.
It was probably
Fences,
Fences.
on the
It
website,
was.
I was just like, oh my God,
Oh man, well,
revisiting
see
the
again,
movie and
but
seeing your,
that's why you feel like when I left Kansas City, I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas,
Hmm.
and Missouri, but mainly in Kansas City, Kansas. And I ran away to join the circus. I didn't know that I was going to make it all the way to the big top, man. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
my.
mean? But to get to work on stage and film with Denzel and Viola on that project, and to work with Daniel Day-Lewis and Steven Spielberg's Lincoln, the movie about Abraham Lincoln, with Daniel Day. I mean, you just and to be welcome in that circle. So I appreciate you saying that I belong there, but it is the greatest compliment to you as an actor that actors at that level are comfortable and glad to work with you.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
and it makes up for everybody along the way that you had to deal with who wasn't so
oh
nice. You
yeah,
know
I'm
what I
sure.
mean? Because it's not glamorous always, and it's a tough road, but it's a joy to get to this particular a place. I got a call about a year and a half ago, and on the other end of the phone said, "Hello, Stephen. This is Halle Berry. I got your number from this playwright in New York. I hope you don't mind." And I said, "Oh no, when I see that guy, the next time I see him, I'm gonna really give him a hard time, man. How dare you give my phone number to Halle Berry?"
Oh my God,
you
that's
know,
amazing.
it's just, but so she was about to direct her first film,
Hmm.
and she's starring in it, and she said that there was a part that she thought, I just think that you're the person for it, and she actually, called me personally, and I've had that happen with Spike Lee one time when Spike calls, and Spike's called a few times. I talked with him on the phone, but it's so personal. But when Halle called it, and it was her first film, and I did Greta Gerwig's first film that she wrote and directed, Lady Bird. So I mean, that's a joy. And then we did the project, and it was in the Toronto Film Festival a year ago, and Netflix has picked it up, so it'll be aired sometime in the next year. And
Cool.
but that's the kind of thing that you know. And Halle was just so great to work with, and a great director, and a fabulous actor. But to be trusted when someone's doing their first film, like with Greta and Lady Bird, which is a great film, that's what can you, it's not. I came back now. I just gotta tell you, the last thing I did, I was in New Orleans. New Orleans is like one of the great American cities, right? And I'm shooting, and when I was on what you call a vacation, that's what I call it anyway, because they call me in. I was supposed to work a day, travel a day, rest a day, work a day, and go home. Okay. And I got down there and they said, oh, you know what? We got some scheduling problems, the weather, this and that. So we might not get to you for a few days. Do you want to go back to Buffalo and we'll call you back? And I said, hey, I'm in love.
Yeah, right.
I want to go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just got to enjoy
Buffalo,
it.
but I don't want to. Yeah. And so I got to stay around, and it took a week really for him to get to me. So I was in a nice hotel in New Orleans, enjoying the food and the music. Too much food, but a lot of music. And then I shot this wonderful section of scenes all in one day with Jennifer Lawrence, and she's a complete pro, beautiful eyes to work off of, but she's a complete pro, and I'm very proud to be a part of that film when it comes out, sometime this year or next.
What was the title of it?
Well, the working title was, I think, Red, White, and Water. But many times they don't, for a long time it was the Untitled Soldiers Project, and that's all they called it, the Untitled Soldiers Project. Then I started to hear this title, Red, White, and Water, and so I don't know what it's going to be called, man. But it's going to be a really nice, very serious drama with Jennifer Lawrence, and it's shot in New Orleans. I think the location of the film is Baton Rouge, but and it's related to some of the incident. Well, I can't tell you what it's about.
Okay. I guess we'll just see when we watch the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. You've done a whole lot of traveling, like all over the world. It sounds like you said Dune. There was 3 different countries you went there. What was the most exciting country, or the most like you were so excited to go somewhere else for whatever project?
No, I'm really excited to go wherever. And with Dune was shot in 3 countries. I was in Hungary, but I was supposed to go to Jordan, but they were able to replicate the desert, But I really enjoyed Iceland. When I went to Iceland, I did a day or 2 on a film a long time back. But I said when I went to Iceland, I said, I got to come back here just on my own, And because the sunset that lasts so long, and I told the people how beautiful that was, and everybody there said, yeah, you're a tourist, all right. They said, because you're not here when it's dark all the time. Everybody comes here to say, oh, I'm going to go to Iceland and be in the darkness for 16 hours a day, But because a part of the year, it's, one way, and part of the year is another. But it's so beautiful, that sunset, that last 6 hours, that's just one of the most beautiful things I've seen. And the other place, when I was on stage, I went to the Dublin Theatre Festival, and I worked in Dublin, Ireland. That was back in '81, and I still remember and cherish the time spent in Dublin. And I'd go back there on my own dime as well. And I know that hopefully there's some places in the future, but like when I name those cities, like when I say I really love to go and work in Pittsburgh and New Orleans, Minneapolis. I mean, there's some great And New York, man. You
Oh,
know,
New
Oh
York's
yeah.
amazing. I
New
love
York,
New
New
York.
York, brother.
That
Yeah,
place is
man.
amazing. Oh,
Yeah,
it
that's
is. It is
like
like for me. I don't know why, but looking at the tall like buildings is it's mind blowing to me that we were able to build something like that. It's so crazy, and just the city itself, it has a different atmosphere. It's so nice. I love it. Um,
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah.
you were traveling, you're a big family man. Did you ever have like issues with your family, or did you just bring them with you whenever you went?
Well, it's important to share as much as you can with the family, so that you're not sitting around at a dinner party or at a family gathering and everybody's asking you what was it like to go such and such, and they have no stories to tell of their own. So
Mhm.
yeah, whenever possible, and of late, yes. But my wife, sometimes she likes to travel, sometimes she doesn't, and
Hmm.
and sometimes I think you're just glad, well, we get a break from him for a while. He go away somewhere, I come back and the house has changed. They've moved this over there. Yeah, we do it. But but my son was really he's really understanding when he was young, and I was going for some of the games and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But he told me as an adult, now he's got three kids, and but he said when I was a kid, Dad, there were times that I wished you were there. But now that I'm an adult, he said all I remember are those great times when you were there. So he let me off the hook real nice there,
Yeah, that's
and
nice. Yeah.
and we did talk about the times that I was there. And so I realized I made quite a few events, and because I didn't, I grew up with foster parents. I didn't grow up with my mother and father, so I was there, and I did, see my father a couple of times, but I didn't have that kind of. So I know I was there more than I had there for me. So I felt good about that, and I got three grandkids, which is a pretty good investment return because I only had one kid. If I could do that with my dollars, man, if I could make $3 for every buck, so three grandkids with one son, that's pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey
that is
man,
amazing.
take whatever you can get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Awesome.
I don't know how much my uncle has told you about us, but I actually am studying film. I want to be a director whenever I get older, but I haven't ever been on the set of an actual like big time film. Do you mind describing the atmosphere for me, just so I know what I'm getting myself into?
Well, first of all, don't assume you're going to start with a big time
Yo, no, I
set.
know, no, no, no. That was not
No,
the
I'm just
assumption.
joking. Yeah, I'm kidding you, man. Uh, but to be around the world of a film set is quite something, because you've got to have a lot of focus as an actor.
Hmm.
You really got to have your concentration and focus together because there's a lot of other things you see other than what is in the world of the scene.
Hmm.
A lot of equipment, a lot of cords, a lot of lighting and apparatus and all kinds of I mean equipment now,
Yeah.
especially a lot of technical equipment is gone, and then you got a whole row of people on one side in a in some sort of a tent, and you got somebody else over there. If you're inside, same thing. You got people on stairs and somebody holding a boom just out of camera range. There's all that, a lot of distraction, basically,
Hmm. I.
other than things that are supposed to be in the world of the scene. Um, and depending upon where you are in the pecking order as an actor, you may have a lot of people around you trying to help. They're powdering, making sure you don't sweat, get your hair right, so that. And if you're lower on the totem pole, like when I started out, they're like, just get out of the way, kid, get out of the way. Wait, you don't come on. We don't need you here. Go away, go away, go away. So there's and it's like what you said about New York City. At different times in your life, because when I first went to New York City from Kansas, I thought I was going to break my neck looking up at, at the Phillies. And I was also afraid because there were a lot of pigeons. And I said, I know somebody's going to get relieved on, man. I just thought that, I said, how do you walk around this town with all these birds?
Yeah.
And
Statistically, at some
it's
point.
bound to happen.
Not have a lot of crap on your head. And as you mature, you take in different things about the city. You see it in a different way. And as your journey in life goes, you see it differently. So that's why I'm saying the same thing about a film set. Depending upon where you are and what you're doing there, it can be a very, very foreign alien planet kind of a thing. And then you can get to a place when you're doing something really personal, like I had a time with Steven Spielberg and Daniel Day, where he wanted to shoot this particular scene with Abraham Lincoln leaving the White House for the last time. And he just made it such an intimate thing to just need the three of us here to talk this through, walk it through, then bring cameras in. And I did another film called Everyday People, a wonderful film for HBO Films. Filmmaker Jim Mckay, great film director, Jim Mckay. If you ever get a chance to be around or work with that guy, and I think he probably teaches somewhere or something, but he's got projects he does. But Jim Mckay, we did a thing called Everyday People, and he wanted a certain effect, and he did that. It was just he and I in this boiler room or something. And he let the cameras get set up. He set it all up. And then he told everybody to go away. So we just talked through the scene. And then he said, whenever you're ready, Steve. And then these cameramen would ease in and cut their stuff on. And it was like the way he worked to get that scene. And he got what he wanted. And it's the same thing. I made that mistake as I was so glad to be with Mr. Spielberg and Daniel Day-Lewis. And so at the end of this day that he had taken his time with this scene with just the three of us, I said, I hope you got what you want, And Spielberg said, he kind of smiled. He said, Steven, he said, we wouldn't be going home if I didn't have what I wanted. Because the thing is, he's not, because I had done a lot of films with people that had a tight budget, type thing. I had done a lot of independent projects, student films, stuff like that. And where they had to get it, and then, they say, well, we got to get out of here. They want the room back, so they had to take what they had, But this is Steven Spielberg doing his dedication to Abraham Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So he's saying, man, we're not going home till I got what I want. And he had so much, this thing, because they're not just looking for one scene, they're going to go to the editing room and they need to have, all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, but you learn as you go, I guess that's what I'm saying, Zach. There's no way for me to describe for you the odyssey that you're about to go on when you step out, and go out there and get on the set. It's a whole other world, and it's a delightful world, and it's a dangerous world too, because you got to be very, there can be big accidents on a film set. People are kind of Pollyanna or starry-eyed. You got to be, really on point, really concentrated, and make sure that everybody else is safe as well as yourself.
Oh yeah, of course, right.
But I'm really glad. I love the theater, and that's where I started, and that's where the craft of acting started, in theater. But you remember that theater is a language art, and film began silent. Film started silent, and so it's an image art. You got to get the image right, the frame, the shot. And then language got added to that art form, but it's still, the foundation of it is visual. And so learning for me, it was important to learn that and to learn that you got to be in it every second, every moment. You can't be waiting for what you have to say. You got to be in the world of that story and the world of the play. You got to do that on stage as well. But I got to tell you, I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it too. Just a little bit that I've encountered so far. It's amazing. Like I love art and everything related to it. So like being there and creating stuff and stuff that might impact someone's life. It is beyond amazing to me. Like have you ever thought about how many people you have like touched or like impacted throughout all of your acting? It is amazing to me. Just that idea.
Well, I tell you, traveling with August Wilson doing plays, it began to come home. I always knew it was important. I always felt it for myself because the first thing that happened is that I got touched by it. When I was an audience member, that's what drew me to it because it made me not feel alone sometimes in my life when I felt like nobody else knew what I was going through, and I go somewhere and see a play or a film and know that other people have been here, and if they can get out of here, I can get out of here. You know what I mean, kind of thing. That's that killing me softly with his song kind of feeling, and but traveling with August, I remember being at Kennedy Center and coming out after a really long day in previews where the show was running like 3.5 hours, man. And by the time we came outside, after we got notes, it was about 4 hours and 20 minutes from when the play had started. And we walk out the side door with a windy kind of a cold weather. And there were these audience people standing around saying they wanted to talk, or maybe get you to sign their program. And I said, my God, man, these people saw this show. We did the play, got out of costume and makeup, and went in and got notes, and then came out, and they're still here.
Yeah.
And I had to say it to somebody. I said, my God, you really are August Wilson fans? And they said, yeah. They said, because we know that by the time it gets to New York, they're going to have to cut some of this. So we get more play here. We were at the last stop. They felt like DC was the last stop before New York. So they knew that they were going to get to see more and hear more of his language and how he writes and all that. And it came home to me all over again, how important the craft was and the theater itself was, and how much that playwright meant to so many people. And I knew that the same thing is true for Neil Simon and now for Lynn Nottage and Dominique Marceau, that these people get to know a playwright or get to know a filmmaker and know his work, and they would say, "Oh man, Spike's got a new movie coming out," or it's like that. Ava's got something. So it does. It really does impact people's lives, and that's the greatest measurement of it, really. Not box office, although you got to make money to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
It's an expensive thing, man. But also it lives so long. See, that's the other thing about cinema. A play, is as long as that cast cannot stay together forever in that play.
Of course.
You'll see that play again somewhere else in another group and everything. But to have something that you're a part of that'll be around 50 years, in a time capsule forever for anybody to see. Cinema has that to offer. The theater has that live experience to offer, which is unlike anything, which we've been without for a while during this pandemic, and there's a lack of empathy in our country. I would say because of theater being gone, but theater helps you keep that empathy inside. Helps you understand and have compassion for other people. When you're sitting right next to them and you're seeing it really live there, it makes us more social animals. They both the art forms are operating on human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
Of course.
Both are amazing.
Yeah.
I just love art. It's if you can touch someone and make them feel something that you're trying to make them feel, it's the best thing ever. And seeing like a good actor and seeing him put the emotions across that the director wanted him to, it is just you're amazing. You're so good. This is still just wild having you on the podcast. I am like, even right now, I don't believe it's actually happening. This is like easily the greatest moment of my entire life so far.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I hope you have a lot more highs than this. And yeah, keep going. And if you get there, say a few years from now, you need an old guy to do something, open the door or something, for the star to go out and go up the stairs. Let me know.
Are you kidding me? You'll be the star.
And harping more on, you were talking about COVID and everything. What has that done to you, or what has that meant for you in terms of family and work and friends and all that?
It meant, I assume it means the same for everybody, that I've lost some very dear friends during this period. Mm-hmm. And some of it was COVID and some of it was COVID related because they're direct result of the pandemic, and then there are spiritual and mental connections to it that allow for other underlying things to take over. So I actually lost people, and I've got a nephew in Kansas City who had a stroke in his 40s, and that I know would not probably have happened had it not been for the surrounding conditions of lack of work and opportunity, and and then there were people who I wasn't able to go and see because of it. That really bothered me. People that I always try to make an annual pilgrimage to see, or who were hospitalized, and under any other normal circumstances, I'd be able to go and see them. But what's also interesting is what we're doing now is the human spirit. Creative people find a way to do what they have to do. So I've seen some things on Zoom that just amaze me. Performances, people found a way to get poetry readings out there, to get plays done, and so we do. The human spirit just rises to the occasion. But the things that I think there have been some insensitive acts that have happened that have to do with going through this period. Things that have happened that I don't think that the January 6th event at the Capitol building could have been as that's a really tragic thing, and people not wanting to accept the results of an election, trying to take away somebody else's right to vote, or just defying. People have been stretched. There's some people who just don't do well in crisis, and but then there, as I say, there are these incredible people who rise to the occasion and have done. I guess I had a period when I was really low, when I lost a couple of people in a row that I really loved, and I was almost not prepared to do this commencement address, as I say, in North Carolina. But then I thought about the people who were there for me in the 70s when I was very low, and when I also saw insensitivity in the streets and so on and so forth. And the country was in, but it wasn't a pandemic added to injustice. But the perfect storm of the pandemic and injustice had me pretty low for a while. But I thought back to the people who were there for me at that time. And that's why I say when Brian reached out and said, he was just reaching out to say, hey, I'm really glad to be in touch with you. I heard your commencement address and it was meaningful for me to be in your class. And he quoted some stuff from the class, over 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago. And then he told me about you guys. And I said, well, there's no way that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it. I got to do it. That's that's, well, I wouldn't be me if I didn't say yeah.
Thank you so much. You honestly have no idea how much it means to us that you agreed.
Oh, yeah.
And my uncle thinks so highly of you. Even before he even reached out to you, he would tell me stuff about your classes and how amazing it was. He was like, this guy is not just an actor. He is beyond that. Like he told a story to me about how him and a couple of his buddies were like making fun of really stupid lines that someone gave him, and he was like, no actor could perform these lines. And then he said that you were like, all right, everyone in the class write down the most ridiculous lines that you could think of, and then you put them in a hat, and then you took turns reading the lines and just nailing them every single time, the most ridiculous lines. Like that is amazing.
Wow, man. See, that was when I was young and crazy. I wouldn't take that on today. But that's really something. That's what moved me, that he remembered such vivid, because when I was starting out, that was just the kind of thing that because you wanted to reach the people. It's not like,
oh yeah,
it's what you said. It's not that everybody that takes this class, I want you to turn out to be actors, or that I expected everybody that took the class wanted to be an actor. A lot of times they take arts class because they say, maybe this is an easy A. I need to get my grade point average up, and I need to do something that's more active than written and so on and so forth. And which I'm glad that those courses existed, but I wanted to make sure that they didn't come in there and blow it off. And so I'd do pretty much anything, man. I can tell you, even lines in a hat, I could see, but and it was a joy being a part of that movie Lady Bird, because Greta was going into places, and she was talking about the fears and the things that are going on in that transition year out of high school into college. Mm-hmm. And then there's the same kind of a transition and even more anxiety out of college into your life, or out of you're always all your life, but out of college or grad school into the work world. And so that's trying to help somebody through that journey. That's what the arts is informing us that other people have walked here before. That sculpting is trying to tell you that. That painting is telling you that. The opera, the music, they're saying you can hear a piece of music and it'll take you right back to the time you first heard it, and renew your strength and your belief, your optimism, the joy you felt. And it can also capture your heartbreak, remind you that, and then you can laugh about it later. You say, okay, 10 years from now, you don't know it at the moment, but 10 years later, you hear that song and say, boy, I thought that was the end of everything. When she said She was going to the prom with that other guy. Oh my God, how did I live? Oh my God, how did I live through it? But then you realize, well, I lived through it,
Yeah, right.
and you can't.
That's amazing. So, is that the reason why you decided to become a teacher? Is so that you could help some people through life like that?
Well, it's a double reason. First of all, it was because of how much teachers helped me
Mm-hmm.
that it occurred to me that I could do that. And then the other thing was I had a son. My son was born, and I was missing a lot of stuff being on the road.
Mm.
I missed his first haircut, and I was about to miss teaching him how to ride a bike. His grandfather was about to teach him that, and then I said, no. I got to get, and I had to get in one town so that I'd be there. And I happened to pick a town. Well, I didn't pick it. I mean, the job that I got was in a town that had a professional theater company. So I didn't have to just go from city to city looking for work like I did before. I could teach full time and once or twice a year be in a play in a professional regional theater company. So it was that combination, the fact that I'd had so many wonderful teachers that I knew what an honorable profession it was and how much I could help others. And I also wanted to be there so that I didn't have the kind of childhood where the people in the house didn't have the same last name. I wanted everybody in there to have my last name.
Yep.
And it was so, but that's how that went, and it ended up being the best thing because I could tell you at one time I thought, oh man, it's over for me as an actor now. I'm going in to be a professor, and that's it. I'm not going to be an actor after all. I'll be in plays here in this town, but I'm not going to be, the long journey. And turned out to be the smartest thing I ever did. I met all these directors who came through, who I got to work with other places. Then I got to meet August, and all kinds of stuff. It all came because I decided to settle in one place, and then everything led me back out again.
That is pretty amazing. Not gonna lie, it is super honorable that you decided to do that because of your family. Like family's everything above everything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the family, and it doesn't just mean blood family. You make family.
Of course.
Yeah, like your best friends are your family.
You go from friendship to kinship,
Mm-hmm.
and and being a part of something is family. Being a part of a great ensemble. There's some shows that I've been in that all those people that were in it, or at least a quantity of them, friends for life.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Jack aren't actually friends. We're only doing this for the podcast. That's the only reason.
That's it. There's no other reason.
Yeah. I kind of picked that up, man. You can't stand to be in the same room with each other.
Yeah, honestly. That's the reason we're doing this on Zoom. It's because, oh, wow. I can't sit next to him to share the mic.
Yeah.
We fight so much. Do you have a specific favorite thing you've been a part of? Like movie or whatnot?
Like stand out.
Yeah. Is there one moment?
You gotta let me, because my normal kind of get out of this question is the next thing I'm doing.
Okay, yeah.
Because I want somebody to hire me again.
Yeah.
But I really sincerely think that meeting and working with August and having done several plays with him, and one of my favorite experiences was at the National Theatre of Great Britain, doing Jitney, a show that we first did in Pittsburgh, at the Pittsburgh Public Theater in 1996. And it was 2001 when we did it in London. And in 2002, August won the Olivier Award for Best Play. Now, the Olivier Award is named for Sir Laurence Olivier, Lord Laurence Olivier. I don't know if you know who that actor was, but Laurence Olivier was a great British actor and actor of the English language. And I had seen him on stage do Shylock in The Merchant of Venice in 1971. And in 1981, I was in Dublin, Ireland, doing the show, came back through England on the way. And in 1993, I think it was, I directed a play in London about the life of Muhammad Ali. And so I'd had this experience through the years. And so to be in London in 2001, when they were celebrating the 30th anniversary, I think it was, of the National Theatre of Great Britain. And I saw Olivier in 1971 break ground, take a shovel and break the earth for them to start to build this great edifice. And then August won the Olivier for it. So I think that experience, the journey of Jitney from 1996 to 2002, which was one of the most celebrated American dramas at the turn of the century. Because the turn of the century means something different. When I was born in 1949, the turn of the century meant something else. And I now can say that at the turn of the century, I was in one of the most celebrated American dramas. And it won the Olivier Award, and I got to play the National Theatre of Great Britain. So I would have to say, for that and related reasons, that experience was a real watershed, was a milestone experience that from which the days before that led up to that, and the days after that spill out from that. And so I'd love to be in one more of the August Wilson films that they're going to do. If that comes around, I'd love to do that. But my cup runneth over, man. I tell you, as old blues song says, I had my fun. If I don't get well no more, if something happens, man, tomorrow I get hit by a truck. I hope I don't, but if I just sort of lay down and go out, then I can say that I've had my fun if I don't get well no more. And I say, and one of the last things I did was that great podcast with Jack, man. That was a real high,
Oh my!
Had a great time.
Oh my, that is amazing.
Personally, I
Thank you
think
so much
we
for
hope
saying
you don't
that.
get hit by a bus
Yeah,
either.
I really don't hope that happens. That would not be very good. That was an amazing story, by the way. It was really
that is
good.
wonderful.
And
All
to
right.
go off of that, do you have a least favorite project you've ever been a part of?
Oh yeah,
That
I
you can
tell
say.
that.
Oh.
You see, now that's something that you got to think of. If you got an embarrassment of riches, you say, I got so many, because I got a lot of wonderful things I'm happy with. But I have no doubt the thing that I was in a production in West Lafayette, Indiana, when I went to Purdue University grad school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the summer company there. And I did a lot of wonderful work there, and I have made some very great friends there, a lot of dear memories. But I also made a mistake of letting myself be cast in a play called The Show Off. That was the name of the play, The Show Off. And it's a classic American play. Not done very much anymore. But and the character's name is Aubrey Piper. I remember this boy. I played Aubrey Piper in The Show Off. in West Lafayette, Indiana, and I remember one of the reviews was this lady who was a fan. She said, "Oh, anybody who's a fan of the actor Stephen Henderson, who's done many shows here at the university, you know, whenever he's given a character, he does it to the nth degree and all this and that. That unfortunately, in this play, Mr. Henderson is asked to play a very obnoxious character. He is so obnoxious in this character." And she's just right. The character is he's a terrible. I mean, I should never have been cast in this part. Personally, I should never have done it, and I almost did because I told him, and I tell you, this is the absolute truth. I told the director, who I came to come to know was a nice guy, nice friend. I'd done many shows with him. He got me in a rep company in St. Louis. That was one of my great experiences, working in a rep company in St. Louis. But he asked me to do this play, and I told him, I said, well, when this play was written in the American theater, I couldn't come in the front door. I couldn't sit downstairs. I would have had to sit in the balcony because they had a period during segregation where African Americans couldn't sit downstairs in the theater, and they couldn't come in the front door. They had to come through a side door if they wanted to go to the theater and go. And this is in every theater in the country. It wasn't just in the South. And you'd go up the side steps and sit in the balcony. Now, why would I want to be the lead in a play that when it was written, I couldn't even go and see it? So I told them that. Right. Now, they told me, of course, in college, I was in grad school. Well, but you see, we've come so far, this and that, and this is a triumph of this and all of this and that and this. And I let them convince me to do this part. Well, that and the fact that they were paying, because it was summer theater. It wasn't like doing the school. I had to have a job. And in that season, I think that's the same season I got to play Oscar in The Odd Couple. And I wasn't complaining about playing the sloppy guy. I didn't say, well, man, as an African American, why do I have to play the slop? I wasn't saying nothing like that. Neil Simon wrote this great part. It is a great play, and it's fun. But this play, I should have stood my ground, man. I should have said, no, man, I don't want to be in a play that has this history in American theater. But I didn't, and I did it. And boy, I tell you, I still regret it. And then when you tell me about, do I have one? No, because very few people ask that question. They say, well, what's your favorite part? But they don't say, what's the stinkiest thing? Yeah, right. But that's the stinkiest thing I said. And I shouldn't have done it. And I hated doing it every day, which is probably why it was so stinky.
I genuinely was not expecting that kind of reaction whenever I asked. I was expecting you to say, like, I love everything I've been in.
Aubrey Piper in The Show Off.
That's it. Okay. I'm gonna have to do some research and find out more into this
because it's been a very successful play for other people, but not. I mean, well,
not so much for you.
Yeah, back in the day, but it was the woman in the show who plays the mother that Aubrey Piper marries her daughter. That's the big role. That's the great, successful, most likable character in the show. Is the mother-in-law of of Aubrey. Mm-hmm. But Aubrey is like this horrible person that she has to put up with her daughter having married. Right. I never should have played this role. Never should have.
I mean, money's money, though. So
money's money. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had to, pay the piper, man. I had to, I had to survive. And I mean, I was in a season. See, that's the other thing. You do a play in a season of plays, so you gotta have a part in each one. I would have played any other part, in that if I could have, but I wasn't supposed to. So anyway.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I think I only have about one question left. It's rather simple. Okay. What's next? What are you doing next?
Well, the next thing I'm going to do is make me a nice sandwich with honey mustard. I'm going to put some honey mustard on it.
That sounds pretty good. I'm gonna lie.
Yeah. No.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, you know where I got that from.
Oh, I do. My uncle probably. Oh no.
No. The next thing I'm doing, and I guess I can talk about it. They didn't say I couldn't. Well, I can't talk about what the story's about, but there's a filmmaker, and you guys may know him because, boy, he makes some powerful. I guess you could. They're not. It's sort of in the Hitchcock, but no, there's nobody quite like him. Ari Aster. Have you heard of this filmmaker, Ari Aster?
Sounds familiar.
He did a film called Hereditary.
Oh, yes. Oh my, yeah.
Okay, all right. I see.
Yeah. No, I know who that is.
Boy, both of you got. You said it.
Yeah, we know who.
Ari Aster, and you know Hereditary, and you know Midsommar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I was all right. I'm doing a movie with Ari Aster.
Interesting. Do you have a
Interesting.
title?
Wow, I can't wait for that.
I tell you, I have a dear friend who's in it, who I met in 1968. Patti LuPone, you know that name? She's an incredible Broadway star, musical star. She's the original Evita, and for Andrew Lloyd Webber, and many other incredible things. And she's also a brilliant actor. And she did a film this past year called Hollywood, I think was the name of it. Hollywood was on Netflix, I think. But wonderful. But the principal, the brilliant lead, is Joaquin Phoenix. That's who I'll be working with Joaquin Phoenix in an Ari Aster film.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing!
I'm so
jealous.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Are you excited? Right. Are you excited to meet and talk?
Oh man, I absolutely. Well, I say excited and nervous, and because you don't want to be, both the two people I just named, are just extraordinary gifts, extraordinary artists, and people of conscience, and the filmmaker I got to meet, and I haven't in person met him. I've met him just like we are meeting each other now, and talk with him, and he's just such a nice person. So unlike, the projects that he does. He was just so nice, such a pleasant experience to talk with him. But he really knows how to make a film, man. Yeah. He really does know how to take and send you through an experience like that. So, and I've read the script, and I'm very excited about being a part of it.
I would be too. Cool. That sounds amazing. I'm incredibly excited to see it. Do you have a title, or is that something you're not allowed to say yet?
Oh, I'm not going to give up any of that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not going to give up any of that. If in the trade papers they may start to talk about it, then you'll know it's what I brought up, what I mentioned.
Okay.
But that's all I'm going to say, because they can't fire me for saying I'm going to do a movie by this great filmmaker with these two incredible, and they're not the only two. There's some other wonderful people in the film. I just happen to know these two. I know Patti very well, and I'm excited about working with Joaquin and because they're two people that my particular character, that's who I'll be working with closely. But and before that, I get to go to the Venice Film Festival for the a world premiere of Doom.
That's gonna be so
my
cool.
gosh, that is
That's
so
gonna be
cool.
so cool.
Yeah,
I'm so
man.
jealous.
Yeah, man. Be in Venice, Italy for Doom, and then come back and go to Montreal and shoot an Ari Aster film. So
You're gonna be pretty busy.
That's gonna be
That's
amazing.
what I got going.
That's crazy. Okay.
You're living the
That's
life.
what I got.
I have one last question.
Interesting.
Do
He
you
seems very
have-
excited.
Yes, I'm very excited for this question. Do you have anything? Did you get to keep anything from any projects that you've been in, specifically Dune?
Man, let me put it to you this way. I can't tell you if I did because I would have done it unofficially. All right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I can't answer that question. Of course I didn't take anything from the film. Why would I ever do such
Yeah, why
Yeah,
would I ever
that's
do
stealing.
such a
That's
thing?
so wrong. You can't do something like that.
Not at all, no.
That is so funny.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
that's, you know what, that is a completely
That is a
sufficient
perfect answer.
and
Okay.
It's like when Chris Hemsworth was like, I didn't steal any hammers, but he has like 5 of them throughout his house.
yeah. From Thor, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had to get out. Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful. It was amazing having you on the cast. Thank you so
Yes.
much. You honestly do not understand how much this means to both me and Jack. For any listeners out there, if you want to contact us, just feel free to comment in the YouTube section below. Follow us on Instagram at Mediak Podcast, and also on Twitter at Mediak Podcast. I think I switched it over. We're going to be more active on there. We got a media manager and one of our friends who's going to be posting more whenever we upload and stuff like that. And just stay tuned. It's exciting.
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much, Mr. Henderson, for being on our
Yes.
podcast. And we'll see you
Seriously,
guys next
really
week.
appreciate it.
Great
See you guys
to
next
do it.
week.
All right, guys.